Hey y'all, so I wanted to come on here and make this video because of a discussion that I had today. In case y'all didn't know, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I am a teacher. I teach second grade and I teach at a predominantly black school. And so today in social studies, we finally got to the topic on slavery. It was all of maybe 4 or 5 sentences that talked about slavery in that entire book. Now, just to give y'all a little backstory. I live in Texas. And I don't know if you all know, but a few years ago, the Board of Education in Texas decided that they wanted to take slavery, especially in detail, out of the history books. And they wanted, they're kind of trying to weed it out. Another thing that we talked about last week in social studies was the Trail of Tears, which was the Native Americans, the first American people. And of course, we all know that Native Americans were not the first American people. And we all know that Africans were not slaves until they reached this land. But as I was having this discussion with my students, I got so many questions because the whole thing that started the discussion was that we were talking about the book was saying how some people weren't free, African Americans were not free, though they were not considered African Americans at that time. And I asked my students, I said, well, how do you think that they got here? And I got answers like a bridge. I got answers like the railroad. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, now mind you, these are second graders. So from Africa to here, there's a bridge. Or you can take the railroad across the water. And I'm not saying this to try to belittle my students, but it's just the fact that it shows me that their parents are not teaching them at home. Their parents are not instilling in them, a sense of geography. I understand they're only in second grade, but in second grade, I knew this. You know what I'm saying? So, to continue the discussion, that was my first question. So then one of my students said, okay, in a boat. I said, yes, okay. So, I said, why do you think that the Africans were not comfortable in the boat? And of course, I got a variety of answers. I'm not going to go into detail about those. However, we got into the fact of, they were chained to the bottom of the boat. They were in, I guess what you would call the basement of the boat. I'm not a boat person, so I don't know what the technical term for it, so correct me, if I'm wrong or whatever. However, we continue the discussion, and I get so many questions. Like, these kids have not really been taught of what slavery actually is because it's being taken out of the textbooks here in Texas. And I don't know if it's just Texas or other states that were in the South, that are in the South, other slave states that are in the South. I don't know if that's what the case is. But anyway, and then I got a question and a statement that really just blew my mind. That was really basically igniting the fire. One, I had a student ask me, was I alive during slavery? That was the first question. The statement was from another student who said that he thought that slavery was a story, that it was fiction, that it was not real. I'm just going to let that sink in. He thought that slavery was not real. So I said, okay, I can't really go in depth on this topic with them for the simple fact that I know that they have no background knowledge. Some of them do, though. Some of them, A few of them, their parents actually have them to watch movies or documentaries about slavery, so they did know that. But for the grand majority of them, they did not. And the thing is, I didn't want to go into too much detail for the simple fact that I don't know what these parents want their kids to know and what they don't want them to know about slavery. If it was up to me, I would have gave it to them raw. Of course, appropriate for their age, but I would have, told them as much as I possibly could for their age. And so it just really made me think about what, as Black people, are we teaching our students, our children, outside of the school? Because we are relying too heavily on teachers to not only raise the kids, yes, relying on me, teacher, to raise these kids, to discipline them, to make them citizens, good people, to make them, basically raise them as if they were mine. Now, I don't have children, but basically that's what my job is, to raise these children, because these kids spend more of their days, more of their time with me than they do their own parents. But my thing is, what a child is taught in school, it should go into more depth at home. That's why I always say, when I do decide to have children, that my children will be homeschooled. I would do my damnedest to make sure that my children are homeschooled so that they get a good quality education and that they know about their Black history. Many of these kids today, and I'm not just talking about the kids in my classroom, I'm talking about kids, period, think that Black history started with slavery. That's the problem. That is the problem with the youth that we have today. Many of these kids think that Black history starts with slavery, and their parents are not telling them any different, because their parents are not going out and doing their own research and realizing that no, Black history did not start with slavery. Black history went back millions of years before slavery. So, I mean, it really pisses me off, because I feel like as Black people, we're at the bottom of the fucking barrel, especially when it comes to quality education. We have a lot of students who come from broken homes, who have parents who are on drugs. And I'm not talking about just at my school, but I'm just talking about in Black schools general. You have kids who, don't have parents at home. They're being raised by their grandparents. You have kids whose parents are in and out of jail. You have kids whose parents really don't care. And it's like, I try to be a force. I try to be an advocate for every single one of my kids in my class. But if I tell you, being a teacher is fucking hard when you don't have parents who back up what you're trying to instill in these children. And it makes me sad, because these are Black kids, our kids. I want them to grow up to be successful and outstanding Black men and Black women. But it's, you can only do so much as an educator. I feel like our kids don't have a sense of culture. They don't have a sense of self. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they come from. And I have kids in my class who are singing Mask Off by Future, talking about Molly and Percocet. Spell Molly, spell Percocet. Now tell me what it is. If you cannot do either, do not sing that song in my classroom. You can sing these songs, but you can't get this lesson. That's a problem. I feel like education is so important for black children in a sense that we need to educate our children on, you know, finances. We need to educate them on politics and how politics work. We need to educate them on, you know, the fact of how this institution is against us. We need to educate them on why the police are bad. You know, people say that, oh, not all police officers are bad. Well, where are the good ones who are standing up for the victims? I don't see them. So you cannot sit here and tell me that not all police officers are bad. Our kids need to be educated on so many things. And the thing about it is the education system was set up to be against them specifically. It was set up for them to fail. You know, they have the whole school to prison pipeline where it's just like, I feel like as a parent, even though I'm not a parent, but I'm giving experience on my parents, I feel like if you grew up in a bad situation and you knew how fucking hard it was for you growing up, wouldn't you want to do better for yourself so that your children wouldn't have to go through the same shit that you went through? Wouldn't you want to do that? I mean, because my mom did that for me and my brother. I understand that not everybody has the means to, but I mean, like, if you really want something, you can put your mind to it. You can put your mind to do anything that you want to do. And that's the problem where religion comes in, where, you know, people talk about you need to pray about it, ask God, talk to Jesus. No, fuck that. You can talk to them all you want to, but at the end of the day, it's you moving your ass to do what you need to do to make a better life for you and your future children. Our parents were not educated on finances. That's why you have so many black children who are in debt. Not necessarily black children, but young adults like myself. I'm 28 and I have a bachelor's degree. And I am $20,000 in debt. And I know a lot of people, a lot of other young black people who have way more student loans than I do. But here's the thing. Black people are not taught how to save money. We're not taught how to save money. We're not taught about how to invest. We're not taught about how to make our own businesses, how to be entrepreneurs. We're taught that you're supposed to go to school, get an education if you can get through the school system, go to college if you can get into college and afford it, and then get a 9-to-5 job for the rest of your life until it's time for you to retire. That's what we're taught. Whereas you have these white kids who they have parents who have set up things for them. When they come out of high school, college, they already have a job for them. White people leave things to pass down to their children, whereas the black people, we're just now starting to get into the hang of doing that, which is what I'm trying to do with my life. For when I do decide to have children, I want to pass something down to them. I don't expect my child to want to go to college or to go to college. That will be an option for them. They do not have to go. I feel like the smartest people are not people who have a 4-year degree, a 6-year degree, or whatever. There are a lot of damn good, smart people who do not have a college education. Some don't even have a high school education. I feel like people can do a lot more learning outside of a schoolhouse. I feel like you can teach yourself by reading. As long as you know how to read, you can teach yourself anything. And that's something that I try to instill into my students. As long as you know how to fucking read, you can do anything you want to do. One thing I see a lot of is, and I'm talking about just in general, when I go outside into the world, when I go to the grocery store, when I go wherever I go, and even in the school, you have so many black kids whose parents are not together, and you can sense that there's animosity between the parents, and it affects the child and their behavior. They come to school acting out because at home their parents are cussing each other out, calling each other all kinds of names, dragging each other through the mud. And even when they're not together, whatever parent that child is with, that parent is talking mad shit about the other parent. Do you know how that affects a child, a young child? That affects them emotionally. It affects them mentally. And then you send them to school and expect them to succeed and to think that the shit that's going on at home is not going to affect them. It is going to affect them in a great way. I see it firsthand. Black people, we have got to do so much better than what we're doing when it comes to our youth and when it comes to our children. We are not doing damn near enough for them to succeed. We have too many of our children who have fallen too far behind, who do not have a sense of responsibility, who do not have a sense of accountability, who do not have a sense of hard work. I saw this meme on Instagram where it had all these black boys who were sitting in front of Mercedes, Benzes, and all kinds of expensive ass cars for prom. And it said that now one of these kids better ask financial aid or, for financial assistance for college because they sit in front of these expensive ass cars. And that's what it is. These parents nowadays, especially those who are my age, who are parents, and those who are in their 30s who have children, they're not instilling in their children what they should be instilling in them. They're instilling in them, oh, I'm going to give you anything that you want just for show, just to do it for the gram, basically. Everything is for show now. Everything that we do, that us black parents are doing, is for show. It's so that you can put on Instagram, oh, this is what my baby wore to the prom. This is what my baby rode in. You're sitting here handing everything to your child, not showing them that it's hard work and you have to work hard to get where you want to be. You have to work hard to get the things that you want. We have to work 100 times as harder than white people to get the things that we want, to be just as successful as them. And it all starts in school. It really does start in school. And my thing is, I feel like, to be honest, I feel all black children should be homeschooled. I do. But the problem with that, though, is that you have too many black people that are whitewashed by society. And, you have too many parents who don't want to sit with their kids at home, who don't have time for them. And I see it. You have parents who don't want to help the kids with their homework. You have parents who just don't do shit, basically, for their children. And this goes everywhere. Across the globe. You have some sorry ass parents who don't do shit for their children. And then you wonder why we're in the state that we're in. Why we're so behind. Why we're not cultured. We've been taught that, oh, we're supposed to get handouts from everything. Oh, when Obama became president, oh, we got a black president. We don't have to do shit. No, that's not how that works. I don't give a fuck who's president. You still need to work your ass off and do shit for yourself. Stop relying on the government to help you. The government ain't gonna help you. Don't you see how they defunded Meals on Wheels? How they trying to take away food stamps? Let's be real. In closing, because I've been talking for too long, and I could talk about this all day. But when it comes to education, you have got to educate your child outside of what they're getting from school, because what they're being taught in school is not enough to get them through life. You have got to teach them life skills because we do not teach that in school. We do not teach life skills. We do not teach survival skills. Now, in my classroom, I do teach my students how to be independent, how to do things for themselves, how to find answers, how to ask questions, how to find the answers to these questions, how to find the resources to find the answers to these questions, what resources you need to use. I teach that in my classroom because that is something that Black people need to know, because a lot of Black people don't know that the resources that are available to them. I have parents asking me, oh, well, where can I get books for my child to work on handwriting, to work on reading? The library. As far as handwriting, you can go to the Dollar Tree and get stuff like that. They have a whole section of like teacher supplies and things for the classroom, but they also have stuff that parents can buy for their children to work on at home. A lot of parents do not know that they have so many resources afforded to them. They don't know how to get these resources. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, like, you have a smartphone in your hand. Google it. Everybody has a smartphone. If you don't know something, Google it. But the thing is, you have to have the sense to know, I have a smartphone in my hand. Let me Google it. Everybody is so worried about having street smarts. You can have street smarts, but you also need to have book smarts. You need to have both. Though I did not grow up in the streets, I grew up very privileged. However, I have both street smarts and book smarts. You have to have both to survive. But I'm going to end this here. And I just want to say that, y'all, my Black people, we have got to do better. We have to do better in so many different things. And I'll probably make this into a series of things that we need to do better on. But first and foremost, we need to be working on the education of our children. Because the problem is you have too many kids that are, first of all, being shot just because they're Black. And because apparently Black children look like grown men. How? I have no idea. And I think it's because we don't age. So the fact that I'm 28 and every time I go somewhere, people think I'm like 18 or 19. No, I'm 28. I'm a grown ass woman. However, a lot of these Black boys that are being killed, that they say look like men, they don't look like men. They don't. But yes, we need to work on the education of our children. We need to open our children's eyes to the real world. Because I think a lot of these kids are living in a fantasy world, and that's going to hinder them. All you parents, get out of this fantasy world. You don't live in a bubble. You're not exempt from everything that's going on. You need to open your eyes and realize everything that's going on. We have too many people that are fucking asleep. Y'all need to wake the fuck up and realize that shit is getting real. It has been for a long time, but you got this orange pumpkin in office who is about to make shit so real for everybody, not just Black people, but for everybody. Y'all need to be prepared. You need to be on your P's and Q's. Because when shit starts changing, you need to know what the fuck you need to do. But I'm going to end it here. I hope that this has spoken to some of you in some sort of way, that you've gotten something out of this. If you would like me to make it into a series, please let me know in the comment section below, and I will talk to y'all in the next video.